Call to order this Bath County Board of Education working session, special meeting, August 25th, 2026, 6 p.m. Discussion of tonight's agenda.
And you'll notice on the consent items, always the amended technology teacher device, if you want to discuss any of that. Well, I'm sorry, on the agenda, 6 always to amend technology, teacher device plan. If you want any discussion on that, we probably need to, we'll do it during discussion.
Okay, I'm not, oh, well, mine says number 8. Discussion of first reading of amended, no, never mind. Consent items, tonight's agenda. I don't see it on the, working session.
It's not on the working session, so we.
You got, no, yeah.
It's on the agenda.
On the
so-
agenda.
Oh, okay, so we need to do it.
So since you're reviewing the agenda, if
Okay.
that's one you want more information on, we need to go ahead and,
Okay, so we're
mention
gonna
that.
do it now. All right.
so I was just making sure you knew where it was at.
Well, I'm glad you did because I didn't.
All right, so,
I got some questions on that. Is Mr. Weaver here?
Yeah, Jeremy and, Diane are both here.
Okay, great. Do you want to have, where, I don't know who Mr. Weaver is.
Jeremy here? He was here.
I don't see Jeremy.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
Oh, I see him, he's up here. Okay, so, I guess everyone's aware that the high school got new Chromebooks to work from this year. And we're trying our very best because the whole state is going to Chromebooks, and we're getting back to pen and paper in the classroom, so, which is wonderful, and we're having teaching, and that's exciting. But one of the questions I have is that on the Chromebooks, and I know Jeremy sent a screenshot that he has 126 gigabytes on his. And the box that they came in does say 126 gigabytes. But when they open it, it only has 4 gigabytes. So if these computers on the box they came in say they have that 126, and then they truly have 4, what are we gonna do?
So they are 128. What it does, it creates a 4 gig profile because where it's a Chromebook, it's not meant for you to stick all of your stuff on it because multiple teachers were wanting to copy all of their files from a flash drive or an external hard drive. But it's meant for you, like if you plug those in, you can use them separately, but you're not supposed to, it's not intended for you to copy everything and leave it on the Chromebook. That's the way Google designed them because you're supposed to be putting it in Google Drive, which is actually what our AUP says for staff and students. Technically, for the last 10 years, our AUP has said we are not responsible for you having stuff on the desktop or on a laptop. It's supposed to be in Google Drive. And part of that is because we knew this was coming eventually. And at our conference in March, it sounds like about 120 or 130 districts out of the 170 in the state are moving to these or already have.
And they have the exact Chromebooks that we have.
No, they don't have the exact ones, but they're all going to these are called like the Plus Chromebooks, the Chromebook Plus, or basically they're the same specs or close to what we order for our Windows laptops.
Okay, so when you say we're following the AEP, are those guidelines and rules that we have to abide by? We cannot no longer use Microsoft laptops or computers in our schools. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying where they're storing the files. So they're not, technically, they're not supposed to be leaving them on the desktops or laptops. They're supposed to be sticking all those files in Google Drive. And that's where they're running into the issue with the storage for the Chromebook. It's because it only is giving them 4 gigs of that 128. 30 of it is already in use for the operating system, and then that leaves like 90 some to use, but it only wants to give them 4. And we've tried to look to see if there's some way that we could expand that a little bit in case, if somebody just has, a few gigs worth of files that they're wanting to try to stick on there. And so far, from what we can tell, there's no way to change that. It's just a setting in Google that it seems like it's kind of hard-coded. Like, they only give certain amounts of space for each user profile, because a lot of them are used where multiple people are logging in, so it's set to a small amount so that if you have 50 people log into that Chromebook, it's going to fill it up. So it keeps it small to give you, because originally when we first started getting Chromebooks, up until like 2019, Google themselves told us we don't need to have one-to-one Chromebooks. We should have at most 1 Chromebook for every 3 kids or 1 for every 2. So in that case, you'd be having them in carts where multiple kids are coming in and logging into them. So if you don't have it set to where it's only taking up that little bit of space, because the student Chromebooks do not have near this much storage space. So I think it's a design by Google to set them to a smaller profile space so that it's not filling up that hard drive quickly. Because I think the student Chromebook ones have like 16 gigs at most. So it's not that it's not there, it won't let them access it. And like I said, when we can look at it from the back end where we're, as Google calls it, we're super admins, we can see what's the whole thing that's there. But where they're regular users, it only lets them see the amount of storage that it's giving them
Okay.
on that Chromebook.
So no matter what, they are going to have 4 gigabytes to their Chromebooks.
Now, like I said, we've only, I found out about this on Wednesday, I think, or not, tomorrow's Wednesday, last Friday, sorry. I was trying to remember. I went up, talked to them, showed them how to use the Chromebook with their panels. They told me about it, and we've been trying to look into it, but we've had so many issues with Rapid Identity and everything else.
That was
getting
my
everybody
next
on.
question.
But
So-
that, so we haven't had much time to research into it, see if we can find some place that will let us tweak it. But just a quick 15 minutes I couldn't find anything.
Okay, so let me ask you a couple more questions if you don't care. On the Rapid ID, so I know these teachers have had the Chromebooks for about 10 days now.
Yeah.
Okay, so each teacher has had that Chromebook here in the building. And they, everyone teaches something different, right? So they use different programs for their teaching. Okay, so at first we thought that the computer, because it keeps shutting down every hour, we thought, well, it's just updating because it's a new computer and
Yeah.
it's got to update to the new programs and stuff. It's been 10 days. They are still shutting down every hour, and they have to get on their phone to get that Rapid Access ID number to get back into the computer. They get a 2-minute warning that, hey, everything you have is going to be lost unless you print it or you save it. You get a 2-minute warning before it shuts down.
So
when,
it shouldn't, erase anything because again, it should be on Google Drive, it should be in Google Docs or Google Sheets. Those automatically save as soon as you make any changes. So it should still be in the cloud on that end. As far as, we spent about 45 minutes during everything that was going on today with opening day. We think we found that setting that's causing, because I've got one of those Chromebooks right now. I've been logged into it all day, and the only 2 times I've had to put anything in was when I closed it and reopened it. So we kind of went hunting because it seems like it was like a high school specific setting, and we think we found the thing that's causing it. But the bad thing is, we originally went to order these on July 7th. 2 weeks later, when they hadn't been ordered by the company we ordered from, we canceled that order, tried to reorder from another company, and we got them in I think it was the end of July or the very first week of August. And we tried to get those out as soon as we could so that we could try to get these issues ironed out if there was anything unexpected. There are a few of them that got them that first week, so they've had them for about 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Most of them got them around the time you were talking about 10 days ago. So the first time we heard about it, like I said, was last Friday. And then we finally got to see it for the first time today because Keith was working with somebody on their Chromebook when it popped up. So we went through the settings. Like I said, I think we found it. The bad thing is they're going to have to log in with that code every time if it times out, because that's the setting that the state has required Rapid Identity to do, and it's nothing that we can change. I don't even know if Rapid Identity can change it because I think it was in the contract when the state set it up with them that was kind of a requirement. Because when we were using Microsoft, we could manage, like, if they were here, they only had to do it every 90 days. Because it recognized that they were here on our network, it was safe, secure, but Rapid Identity doesn't have that capability, so it requires them to log in every single time with using the code. Because with Microsoft, we could set it to where, so most of the issues we have with phishing or hacking come from outside the US. We could set with our old system with Microsoft where if it was anybody tried to log in from outside of the country, it immediately denied it. Didn't matter if they had the right password, it didn't try to send them a code, it immediately just shut it down. No chance of going forward at all. With Rapid Identity, there's no protection on that end. They don't have it set that way. Or at least not that we know of. If they do, it was something that we can't touch and we can't see.
Okay, so in addition, that brought up another thing. With these Google Chromebooks, don't we have to purchase Microsoft Access for each teacher to be able to have access into Microsoft?
So that's one of the things that we were looking at trimming back some, because for the most part, most of the teachers don't use Office anymore. They've been using Google Classroom for roughly 8 to 10 years.
And is that most of the teachers here at the high school?
Yes,
So they don't use Microsoft?
most do not. Most district-wide do not. We probably have, I'm gonna say out of roughly 200-ish, that includes our administrators, I think Frisky and the nurses, probably about 50 or 60 total. And a lot of those are people that are required to send reports to the state because the state is separate. So they're under somebody else than who we are under, and they allow them to require use of Microsoft, and our side encourages not to use Microsoft anymore. So those few people have to send reports to the state, have to send it in Word or Excel. So those people are the ones that are the heaviest users. But as far as classroom teachers, we've probably got 15 to 20 that use it, and probably 10 of those are heavy users.
And are they all located here at the high school?
Can you repeat that?
Are all of the teachers that are using the Microsoft, other than the admin, are they all located here at the high school? Or do
No.
we have some in the elementary schools and?
I know we have a few at the middle school, a few at each of the elementaries. Primarily, it's business classes here, because one of the things they teach is using Office, or at least used to. And then again, there are a few people that created documents, whether they were PowerPoints, Word documents, Excel documents, 10, 15 years ago, and they're still using it. But most have migrated it already to Google Drive.
Okay. And then, what about the teachers who are teaching dual credit, the teacher, not the students?
Yeah.
But the teacher who is teaching a dual credit class and from MSU, because I'm not sure about MCTC classes, and they use Mozilla because they will not allow them to log in with Google Chrome.
So I emailed all the dual credit teachers a couple days ago to ask them if they were having any issues. And actually, Jeremy was with one of the dual credit teachers while she was trying to navigate Blackboard, and it worked seamlessly on the Chromebook. There was a couple things that she was not clicking. There was an X that she had to click out of, and it went straight to Blackboard. Now, they are transitioning to a different platform called Canvas, I believe, but it's also cloud-based, right? So it should work just like Blackboard, and I haven't heard back from any of those teachers because I asked them, are you having any problems with Blackboard
I
and the
think
Chromebook?
Blackboard was working. They, when I spoke to them, that one did work, and they had that streamlined. The only issue that they're having is, it's called Mozilla, and I'm not a computer person, so it's what MSU is using.
So Mozilla is just another web browser, and I had one today telling me that it wasn't working, but when I tried it, it worked fine. So I'm not sure what issue specifically she's having. So that may be more of a individual versus a blanket one. Because I know, so the problem is most of the things that our staff are using overall are just cloud-based things that aren't actually a program, it's just a website. The few that are using something different are mostly our CTE people, and they have their funding and it's separate and they buy their own stuff.
Yeah.
So the few,
Does
trying to
CTE
think.
have laptops?
they do, those
Okay.
are purchased out of their own funds.
Okay. And are we allowed to purchase, I mean, we are a public school, and we have a vendor list, I know, and I know on certain items you have to be approved to be able to order things from. But are we allowed to do our own bidding and to find our own laptops if we wanted to, if we were able to? I'm not saying we're going to, I'm just asking.
So the state has like a vendor list, and we can order from those vendors, but the problem is most of what we get is all enterprise level equipment that's 2 and 3 times what all the personal stuff that you could buy from Walmart. So technically they don't even want us we could buy the same thing from Amazon, but they don't even want us doing that because part of the bid list, they require at least a 3-year warranty on all devices that we purchase. So bare minimum, we get 3 years, and it's supposed to be, I'm trying to remember, at one point they said it was supposed to be like, I think part of that warranty is that they have to take our call and get to us that same day. Whereas a lot of companies, if you call, if they get back to you within a few days, that's part of their regular warranty service. But we get charged a premium because it's supposed to be, they're supposed to get back to us and basically get it to where we can ship something to them within the day. That's part of that bid process. Of what
Okay.
they,
And so again, are we allowed to purchase outside of them, or do we have to use them? Because
we
just
have
like
to
you said.
use, we have to use that bid process. And I don't think we can, I think the only way they've allowed it is you have to get waivers. And if you do a waiver, they generally just allow it for like a single use. But I'm trying to think. There have been a few cases, but usually when you do that, the ones that they've allowed have been for Macs. And most of those have been for DataSeam districts that DataSeam pays for those Macs, and then they have to leave them on overnight, and it runs cancer research when school's not in and they're not being used. So then they allow those districts to purchase supplemental ones in addition to the ones they get through DataSeam.
Okay, because, you know, we're all taxpayers here, and when I just went and looked up a really high-end computer at Walmart, it retailed for $1,150, but they've got them right now at, $649. And the memory and the speed and the everything was double and triple as opposed to the ones we have, and they came with a 2-year warranty. I feel like the state sometimes sets those guidelines and they gouge us because we're a school. And, that's,
Yeah. Part of
it's
the-
awful because we're trying to save money and
Yep.
give teachers better tools, not try to make their life hard and stressful right before school starts. Everybody up here wants to do their very best for everybody that's in the ditches, and they're working with all these kids, and, we would love to make their life easier.
Yep.
And be able to afford to make their life easier. That's always, everybody up here, that's what we all want. And so I'm just trying to rack my brain because I saw the price of what it would cost to put a laptop in there through our bidding process, and it's ridiculous
Yeah.
compared to what we can purchase. So there's no way, we can't purchase office supplies or anything like that from a local.
No, the problem is, so where we're getting enterprise level, because we tried this one time, I don't say we had someone donate a computer that they bought for like $500 one time, and they got it from Walmart. It was consumer level. It lasted 9 months because what we buy is designed to run all day, every day. Your consumer grade electronics, your consumer grade computer is maybe designed for an hour or two of use a day. That's their average load on it. Ours are on 8+ hours a day for 180-ish days. That's if it's just a classroom teacher. Some of our administrators, you're talking 240 days. And a lot of those computers are hooked up to the panels, and that puts extra strain on it. So those higher grade are designed to handle more of that load. The problem is the consumer ones, unless you get like a high-end gaming setup that's $2,000 or $3,000, you're not talking about something that can handle the load that the enterprise level stuff that we're getting can handle.
Well, actually, that's what I was looking at today, was a gaming system. It was a gaming computer, and that's why I was so shocked at the price. And then I started questioning everyone, like, I actually called and said, hey, you know, I spoke to them about that specific computer, because I know if it's a gaming system, they're high speed, they have they're extremely really well. And I know in my own office, we're on our computers that we buy, like at Best Buy. Now, they are, you know, nice computers, they're laptops, and we work them 8 hours, and most of the time when I'm working, it's 12-hour days, when, you know, busy time, and that's 6 months out of the year, so they handle it. I just wanted, if we can't purchase anything outside of the bid list, then that just, dead in the water.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they would do that to all school systems, that you're legally not allowed to buy computers. And this is from who?
Yeah, KDE.
KDE?
Yep.
And don't we pay KDE a fee to be able to use
That would
their
be
services?
You're probably talking about KEDC.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, and I tried to get a couple of quotes, or try to use some of our most recent quotes as a comparison. Some of the most recent laptop quotes we got, what used to be about $800 or $900 are now $1,300, $1,400 each. And our desktops that we used to buy for $650 to $700 right before COVID, or at the beginning of COVID, are now $1,100, $1,200. So
Yeah.
between inflation, between all the other problems with tariffs, they've just gotten so high that, we can literally buy 2 of these Chromebooks for the price of a single desktop. And the problem is, with desktops, we're running into the issue, and why we used COVID funds to buy 2 for every single classroom, was with these new panels and the new computers, they can run 4K for the output onto the display. It won't let you have more than a 15-foot HDMI cable, and we can't just buy like your average Amazon one. They have to be 4K, 60 hertz, and they're 3 times the price. If they're more than 15 feet away, the panels start, it almost kind of blinks, and you get a black screen that goes in and out. So it took us probably a month to figure that out when we first got the new desktops in 2021. So we have to have that desktop mounted right underneath, because if it's on the teacher desks, most of those desks are at least 20 or 30 feet away. Some of them have them on the complete opposite end of the room. So that means you either have to buy 2 desktops, you have to do a laptop, or we have to do the Chromebook. Because the good thing is with wireless, with the laptops, with the Chromebooks, we have the panels on wireless to where they can connect to them wirelessly, and then it doesn't matter where they're located. That was one of the reasons why we went with the Chromebooks, so that they would have flexibility where they set their desks up, they could take them home with them.
Would
Yeah.
a laptop do that as well?
Yes. The bad thing is, like I said, we were looking at $1,300 to $1,400 versus $550 for these. And with,
In a laptop, they can turn it on if they're teaching a class and you've got multiple tabs open because they're working on things. You know, teachers are always working, if their kids are working in class on something that's on the board or whatever, then they're usually working on grading papers or putting grades in, or, you know, they're working too. With these Chromebooks, are they gonna be able to do that?
So the screen share software that comes with the panels will let them share a specific tab. So they could just show, let's say, a Google slide, and you can pause the screen and then they can go on and do something else. They also, even if they don't pause the screen, although I know I talked to a few today and they were worried about if they didn't pause it that it might show something different. But you can select what screen you want to share or what tab, and it only shares that tab. So they could share the Google slide and go over to Infinite Campus, and it should continue to only show that slide. And when we tested it, that's what it did.
And when you said, so if they were watching a movie, that movie would continue to play while they were on Infinite Campus, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and then what about our special ed? Because a lot of those have multiple different tasks that are required, and even typing in symbols, which is not even available on Chrome.
Yeah, that's a 26-year-old software that we set one back up for that specific instance, and it took us like 45 minutes to get it to download where it's 26 years old. It installed. I don't know how well it's going to run. I'm kind of surprised it still runs, but we got that one specific instance. So the idea was we want to do these unless there is a specific, like if there is somebody that absolutely needs it to be able to do their job, we can put a desktop back. The problem is we've got 200 desktops that we bought in 2021 that are 5 years old. We have had 20 of them die since January and 8 in the last 10 days. Those, either we replace all those if we're going to do desktops, or we start this process, and as we replace, we take the ones from here at the high school and we have to use those to limp everybody else through until we can replace the rest. Over a 4-year cycle, because the idea was we would do this one building at a time. That way we could just say, we're going to start, instead of replacing how we have in the past where it's whatever was bought at the time, we can do it a building at a time so each building knows, hey, this is your year. But over a 4-year cycle, you're talking saving 30 grand a year, or 120, roughly 120 over the 4-year cycle going, if we go to laptops, and you're talking, what was it, 45? It was 200,000 over 4 years if we go back with the same setup. No, over 200,000, my bad.
I don't
Yeah.
want to do a desktop.
Yeah.
That's not the goal. I just find it just really, and I'm beating a dead horse probably, but I just cannot comprehend why a school system cannot call a computer or several of them and bid not the consumer grade, but a teacher grade level laptop and say, hey, we're going to purchase, 150 of these over the next 3 years. What kind of price and what kind of warranty and what kind of, guarantee can you give us?
Well, so I think, like a lot of the other areas, a lot of it got started because in the early, like late 90s, early 2000s, when a lot of this stuff got bought and there was no contract, there were quite a few where they got given to buddies of superintendents or buddies of someone. So the idea was the state put it in place where you can only buy from them if they are on the contract, because they have, like Apple wasn't even on the contract at one point, because the state has a list and you have to say yes to everything. And if you say no to any of them, you're automatically off. And and Apple didn't want to agree to one of those things. And it might have been the 3-year warranty. I don't remember which one it was. But they were off the contract for 2 years, and no one could buy that without a waiver. So it's been a process, and it's been something that multiple school districts have argued about and fought with, but their viewpoint is it's trying to protect us from fraudulent and
But it seems fraudulent to me that they're charging us way more than
Yes.
what the value of what we're getting. When we could get something that would streamline, make teachers' lives a whole lot easier. You know, you only get so many minutes to a classroom, and if this times out, they have to rapid access back in, or if you got teachers that have been teaching 10, 15, 20 years. They've already got their materials and their programs that they're used to using. Now, 2 days before school, they're changing those programs because they can't get them to work or they won't work. You know, that causes a lot of stress on the teachers. And I'm just trying to, we're all here to help everyone. And I know I keep using the word teachers, but that's who's teaching our kids, and we expect our kids to make A's in these classes, and yet we're making it really difficult for them to be able to teach whatever class it is that they're in, because we can't give them the right tool. Or we've given them a tool, but there's a learning curve to it. And if there's a learning curve and it will do it, and it's just a matter of time, and then they're happy, that's great. But what I'm seeing is that people have brought in their own keyboards, their own monitors. They can't see it. It's small. The keyboard on it is very, tiny. They want to attach a bigger because they're used to it. It's speed. It's about being able to get through the day in a timely manner.
just to address one or two things there, and this is not to, but they were told in the meeting on Friday if they would like a monitor, because we still have the monitors that, we took with the desktops. The main thing we need to help get the rest of the district through are those desktops. So if they wanted a monitor, we could bring them back to hook them up to the Chromebook. They just needed to submit a ticket. So we've tried to bring some back for those that submitted tickets, but we've only seen a few. So
You've only seen a few tickets?
yes,
Okay. And
So-
then if they need a keyboard, can they request one of those?
yes, we've got plenty of wired keyboards and mice spare.
Okay. And then, one last question, I'm going to stop.
Okay.
If there is a teacher that cannot use this Chromebook, and I don't know who it would be, but if there was one, are we allowed to accommodate their needs?
That's kind of going to be on a case-by-case basis, but I mean, if they really need it, like there's software that they have to use for their classroom, then we could do that. The problem is, I don't know what that would be, because all of the things that I can think of are all CTE classes.
Okay.
So like engineering, networking, I think art is now moving over to being graphic design, and that's going to be a CTE pathway. All of those things that might use something that's actual software that would need to be on the computer, installed on it, would need something with better specs. Those are all CTE classes that I can think of. Like I said, there might be a couple of different situations where for a specific child or something, and we can look into that. The problem is, on top of all, and I hate to keep coming back to the money on it, but not only is everything getting more expensive, we found out that our CETS funding that we normally get like 60 or 70 grand of is basically going away. We might get 5 or 10 grand this year. Next year there's nothing.
Are there any grants, other grants or title money that you can apply for?
The problem with the title funds are it's so up and down of, we can't really count on it, because this year the high school could get 30,000 and next year they could get 5. So we can try to use it, because with the Title I funds, that has to be used directly impacting instruction. So for a teacher device or student Chromebooks, we can do that. But the problem is, again, that money fluctuates so much, we never know how much there's going to be. We kind of put together like a rough yearly estimate on what the budget would be, because we have to do teacher devices, we have to do a lab in the library, a lab in the elementaries every year, because we have a 4-year cycle between Crossroads Library Lab, OES Library Lab, Crossroads Lab, OES Lab. That's an extra $15,000 every year that we have to do, and those are with Chrome boxes so that they're cheaper. And then all of our, however many student Chromebooks we decide to do, we were looking at the numbers, you're talking over, if we do laptops, you're talking over $130,000, closer to $140,000 for doing laptops for the teachers every year, plus all of those other things. And if we do Chromebooks, we're under 100. So that's our biggest issue, is just the,
So we're 40,000 difference on tools.
yeah.
Okay. And what would be the consequences, do we know, if we did purchase our own?
I'm not sure. One of the big things is we probably need to consult regarding our cybersecurity insurance.
Well, when
and-
you were talking earlier, you said that a Microsoft laptop would just automatically shut down if someone from outside of the U.S. was trying to scam it.
Well, so the problem is with the new,
You would cut me off.
so we kind of consulted with them because several of the teachers were wanting to bring in personal laptops, or basically they said if it's not enterprise grade purchased by us, then they didn't want to cover it if it's connected to the panel or connected directly to our network. So we then get in the sticky situation of, if we have something happen like a data breach like what Fleming County had 10 years ago, then they were having to pay $4,000 per student for identity protection. That's probably doubled or tripled, because it's only gotten more expensive, because I know we've had multiple districts around us with data breaches. It only seems to be becoming more common. So if we're not following
I got
what
it.
they want, then we're going to be paying it instead of them.
Okay. No more
That-
questions.
Yeah, that's our biggest concern. I don't know as far as if KDE has a specific penalty.
Well,
I
that's
can-
a pretty big concern.
Yeah.
Thank you for all this information, Jeremy. It's been a major help.
No problem.
Discussion of the Bath County Middle School renovation project.
Hi, everyone. Like normal, Jordan will start.
This evening.
Good?
We had I started off last month saying we had a great month, but this month was even better. We've got all the new plumbing Well, I'm gonna start with plumbing. We got plumbing done in the annex building. The water has been, we got new water lines run to the annex building. Everything's hooked up and complete. Water's functioning as it should. Hot water's working great. All new sprinkler lines are installed in the gym and complete, painted. The gym is complete. It's ready to be turned back over to the school, and floor's clean. We got some touch-up paint to do on some conduits on the wall and around the perimeter of the walls on, next to the floor. All the storm lines are complete around the exterior of the building. It all has been regraded as of today. The flat roof over the Area A, which is the west wing of the building, is completely dried in. They still got some caps to throw on and some flashing. The barrel roof is completely dried in, minus the caps and the flashing as well over the gym. The basement is going to be our next primarily focus of getting complete. We have gotten drywall hung and the finish on most of the drywall in the basement. Sprinkler lines are going in the basement. And next will be plumbing. Not plumbing, I'm sorry. The ductwork. Once the ductwork's in, we'll go in with our ceiling grid and tile. And once all overhead work is done, we'll go in with our floors and get that completed, and paint, get all that completed. And once we get done with the basement, we will ask, or once we start getting close to done with the basement, I will ask for the next 4 or 5 classrooms that Ms. Johnson is available to give us. And once we are done with the basement, she can move those kids from that area down to the basement so we can have that area that she lets us have. But the gym is complete. It's not 100% complete. We still got a little bit of work left on the stage, as in some duct work that's got to be finished and cut into the walls for louvers and things of that nature. The ceiling has been painted. We got lights that's got to go in on the stage, but the gym is usable. You guys are free to have it tomorrow and the remainder of the school year. We will have some minor adjustments we got to do in there, but nothing we can't do at night in the next 2 weeks. And that's all I got right now. You guys got any questions for me?
Sounds good.
Perfect. Thank you.
So for the agenda item, I think it's item number 8 that talks about change order proposal for PR7. In technicality, that is just like the umbrella way we're going to kind of talk about this item. It's technically impacting 2 contractors. So I think it's item number 9 and 10. Hopefully it's the ones that talk about bid package 260 and then bid package 030, because those are the 2 contracts that it impacts. Main thing to note is that this is an area in the corridor on the first floor that originally had a design to take an old electrical panel and use it as a junction box to bridge to a new electrical panel that was like maybe 10 feet away. The electrician looked at it and was like, well, we could probably fit it, a brand new one right next to the old, and save some money. So the change order proposal for bid package 260, it's their second change order for Babcon. That is a credit of $3,190.26 for them to not do the new location 10 feet away and actually just do what they were going to do just closer to the old unit, or old box. So that will be the first thing that you get credited back for simplifying the work there. The offset would be to contract 030, and it's their third change order for Momentum, and they would charge $2,500 to do a chase wall to enclose the new panel and the closer locations of the old panel. So new will be next to old, but in a small chase. So the net savings you would get between the 2 would be about $608 going back to you all between what is spent on Momentum from the savings you get from Babcon. But 2 changes, 2 contracts, net total of $608 coming back to you all for that simplification there. And in that scenario, it really just simplifies a lot of work on the masonry wall because it's an exterior wall. It's an older building. It would make it look nice and clean in the hallway. And I think it's a win-win for everyone. But just let me know if there's any questions about why or what we're doing. Drawing-wise, in your packet, the best one to look at is the second to last sheet. that is what you're gonna get as like a small little bump out with an access panel to the electrical panels. The last sheet in your board package just shows what it was before, basically 10 feet away. New and old, next to each other. But overall, let me know if there's any questions about that item.
Thank you.
Yep, and if it's okay with you all, I think Jordan and I are gonna go back to the middle school, because I wanna make sure that we document everything before kids come in, because I know it's important with the phase project that we at least have a record of what it looked like before anyone else comes into the room. So if it's okay with you all, I think we're gonna go head over to the middle school right after this.
Sure, that's fine.
Okay, okay. Well, I appreciate it, and definitely let me know if there's anything that comes up after the meeting, Dr. Melton. Otherwise, I'll see some of you all at the dinner next Thursday. So, see
Okay.
y'all then.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 5, discussion of the additional teacher position at OES.
We're 7 over right now in third grade.
We got new numbers today, and I think it showed that we were 7 students over cap
In third grade.
in the 3rd grade. So, how does anyone feel about that?
Well, is third grade, how many teachers or classrooms do we have? Do we have
3.
4 on each?
We have currently 3 in 3rd grade.
Okay. And if we, now, just to make sure I understand this completely, third grade is the beginning of their testing, correct? So this is kind of where the pavement meets the road, all right, for these kids. And so if we add another teacher, that's going to put 19 in each class.
Be about 20 now, because
20.
we actually picked up 3 more,
Okay. And then if we, the cap is 24?
24 for
Okay.
K-3, yes.
And if we do this, then we always pick up more throughout the year.
We
Usually.
anticipate more.
Yeah. Then yes, okay. So it's just a needed position.
So do we have room? We have a room?
Yes, we have, Ms. Wells, we have 2 rooms available if we need it. That's what we discussed today, is, yes, we've got 2 rooms available if we need it, so we're good.
So how long will it take us to get a teacher hired if we approve this?
I can't give you a deadline on that. We don't know, but we talked about it today. We are all in the process of looking at our options. So, of course, first of all, we'd have to post it. It is an emergency situation, which will give us a little bit more leeway as far as hiring. So I've already got people that are already looking, you know, in the event that you all did propose to add a teacher.
So at this point, what we're going to do, they'll be placed in the 3 classrooms that we presently have, and then, once we hire another teacher, they're going to be divided.
Yes.
Okay, I spoke to a teacher last night that's not from here, but a seasoned teacher, and they've had this happen, because this happens a lot. Like, almost every year, this happens at one of the elementaries. It's a norm. But where we do have an extra, and this is just a question I'm going to ask Ms. Wells, since we already have a classroom, and the first day is tomorrow, and you probably don't, this probably is not going to work, but let me just ask, is it possible that, do you know which kids will be in that 4th class? So you all haven't, like, broke it down? Because okay. I was going to say, if you had known, it would have been nice to put those kids in a classroom, and that way they would have just been waiting for their new teacher to show up. But it couldn't because of how this
But it could
meeting
be a week or
fell and the
2
numbers
or
came
longer.
in. So it was like the perfect storm to not be able to do that. Okay.
Okay, item 6, discussion of the preschool structure and staffing.
Okay.
Okay.
Hi.
I'm going to start with numbers, then we can start thinking about planning. That work?
Sure.
Okay, so we've got 3 classrooms right now, and we are at 56 total. So we have one that's got 19, another that's got 19, and then another that has 18. One of those classes that has 19 was essentially the AM and the PM that was split. But if we make that a full day, that would be a full 19 instead of half and half. So with 56, what we have to do is we have the child find. And the child find is ongoing. So anybody that comes in that wants to be screened, when they reach the age, then we have to accept the ones that are tuition-based or children that have disabilities. We don't have a choice of the matter. That's regulations. So we could be coming in a few months and need a classroom and have kids waiting and no place to put them. That's where we're at with this.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes.
About the childcare.
Yes.
Because we were gonna do 2 half-days in childcare, correct?
Yes. So
Okay.
I'm picking up where these decisions were made before I started in as a new dose. So I'm gonna give you information that I have, and the reasoning behind the way the decisions were made was based on that.
My question is now, if we go to this full day, so we do not have any children that will be in childcare during the day, correct?
Well, they have childcare for the afternoons. We don't have childcare during the day. So what will happen is if we go to, behind the reasoning of the half day was if you had 3-year-olds in the morning because they were younger, then you would send the 3-year-olds on to daycare for that afternoon, and then you'd pick up with your 4-year-olds for the PM. But if we move that class to full, then we will have no daycare.
No daycare during the day?
Yes.
Only mornings, before school, and
Afternoon.
after school?
Afternoons. And then we have it for breaks. We do Christmas breaks, Thanksgiving breaks, 'cause it's open to the community, and summers.
Does that cause an issue to do it that way?
It hasn't, as far as, as the way we've been doing it that way. We've had camps come in and kids are brought in for daycare. We have a staff that brings their kids in the afternoons. If we have staff that may need that daycare for an hour and a half or 2.
But that would be a big financial loss.
It could be, yes. And we're open till 6 o'clock in the afternoons. No, we do have.
So they pay they'll pay for the afternoon, the morning and the afternoon
Now,
daycare?
it will help pay for it. I think this was the reason why this discussion was had before, was to help save the daycare, and there's the need for it. But even with what we have now, we still don't know if it would save that. There's really no guarantee. And we have 15 to 20 kids right now that's on a waiting list for a 4th classroom, but they're all tuition-based. And what happens with this is we don't get the funding. The tuition's $40 a week for preschool, so we won't get the funding for preschool. With preschool, when you have kids that are income-based or have a disability, you get $4,100 per kid. If they have a severe disability, you get about $8,000 per kid.
A year?
Yeah, it's for pretty.
So we can't really fill up a tuition base, or we have to with our numbers, we got to be careful with, because if we take 10 of the tuition base to start a 4th classroom, we still have to have openings for the kids that come through that will be screened throughout the year. We have to serve them first.
With this new thing that the governor is doing, this pre-K for all, do we fall into that category? Is any of this? No.
I mean, we don't, not right now. And I don't know a whole lot with the new regs with that. If it's grant, Brittany, do you know? Okay, so it's a trial. Okay, so it's a trial, we're not included in that area, because we're doing certain districts.
How financially, Brittany, what are we looking at losing, doing the full day? No.
It's kind of a two-part. It would, last year we ran in the red around 40-ish to 50,000 in the childcare, and we still had some grant money we were using left over. So this year, if we did everything the same this year, of course there will be some changes on who's tuition-based, all that type of thing. But just say it was like last year, the childcare will run in the red around 70,000 this year. So you're gonna definitely lose out on the money we were going to gain, hoping to gain from going to this route. Of course, we didn't have as many kids signed up that we had hoped either, because like the AM session, I think had 9 kids, and the afternoon session had 10. So we were hoping that the AM would have 20, the PM would have 20, and when they needed that childcare. So I don't know that we would have been able, what she's saying is, I don't know that we would have been able to go black or even in childcare, no matter if you did this or not. But you're definitely gonna lose around 70, you're gonna go red in the childcare around 70,000 if you do full day.
Let me ask a question. When Ms. Martin was speaking, you get, what did you say? Did you say we get 4,100 per pre?
We get about $4,100, it's $4,174 per student that has funding with a disability or income. And then the more severe the disability, then we will get $7,929.
That's pre-K, not daycare.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
that's
pre-K.
But what happens if you have a child, you know, just a child that's normal comes to school? Is there any SEEK money or any funding for children, period, like that?
Not if they don't have a disability, because I know preschool is just, it's not for all kids. It's for your
Okay.
at-risk.
Okay, then let me ask you another question, and this is a crazy question.
It's okay, I'll try to answer it.
And I'm not even gonna ask it, never mind. Because it's that crazy, never mind.
But too, along with the loss that you would have in childcare, of course, it would cost the additional teacher salary and additional aide, because you automatically have to have an aide with the teacher. So it would cost quite a bit of money. I mean, you're looking at least maybe 150-ish thousand.
So we've got a couple weeks, right, before this pre-K starts?
We do. We don't start till the 8th, and we are getting people inquiring about enrolling every day. So I had one this morning. So when they come in, you know, I screen them on the spot.
How many kids can be in a pre-K class?
Well, it could be 20 per class is the max, because it's a 10-to-1 ratio. So that's with a teacher and an aide. And then we do make sure that we take care of board member and staff kids, because we believe that, you know, happy staff and helping our staff and making sure they have their needs met while they're teaching for us, so that's taken care of too. So within those 56 that we have right now that are funded based, we have about 10 that are staff kids that we pay in tuition.
And like how many do you have like on a wait list, maybe?
We have 15 to 20 on a waiting list. I counted this morning, and I think I had 20, and I had 3 or 4 that we had recalled just to let them know they were on the list, and they haven't returned any calls back.
Okay.
So,
So
but those are all tuition-based. So we can't really fill another classroom with tuition-based because the tuition's $40 a week, but we're not getting funding for them. But we're gonna be out of teacher and childcare, and then your aide, so what you pay for that.
I think we need to stop right now with this and think about it some more, and we've got to move on to our regular business session and kind of, like I said, kind of think about it and maybe get with Brittany and some more numbers before we make any final decisions.
If you think of any other questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome.
Does anyone need a break before we move on? Yes. So we're adjourned with the working session, and we're going to move directly on into the regular session. So I'd like to call to order this Bath County Board of Education special meeting, August 25th, 2026, 7 p.m. Discussion and possible action on tonight's agenda.
I make a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
So I have a motion by Eric, second by Carla. Any discussion on the agenda? All in favor signify by saying yes. Yes. Opposed? Motion carries. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please take just a moment for silent devotion. Amen. Thank you. Item 4, cybersecurity presentation. Ms. Diana Klein.
Hi, everyone. Okay, so you should have a cybersecurity report that I provided for you all. So the cybersecurity report is a state mandate to help inform local school boards of how school districts are taking active measures to safeguard student and staff data. In your report is included, you will find several different pieces of information. I'm going to talk about rapid identity last because it's the biggest piece of information included in the report. But first thing you'll see in the report is a comprehensive list of all the actions taken by Bath County schools to increase cybersecurity, including the project dealing with rapid identity and the Master KETS plan by the state. Again, I'm going to come back to rapid identity. Appendix A has all of our acceptable use policies and Chromebook agreements. Those are the AUPs that Jeremy referenced earlier. We are going to make a quick amendment to the Chromebook agreement soon because it still has us listed as 1-to-1, and we're trying to move away from that. So we're going to amend that so we have an updated version. Appendix B are sample emails sent by Technology Department to help safeguard our staff, and then several different questions about rapid identity. One of the emails you'll see included in your packet is just to beware of the phishing emails that we all get. Jeremy and I have talked a lot about those. He said he gets about 10 an hour. I've been getting more and more lately, and you just have to be very careful to not click on those links, and if it says that it's from an outside user, just be aware. Appendix C is the KRS statute that deals with notification of personal security breach. And lastly, you've got Appendix D, which is KDE's data security and breach notification best practices. Okay, so this paper right here, Karen printed it, I gave it to her for you all to have it in color. I know it's not in color in your packet, but this is the big one. So rapid identity, like it or not, it's a state mandate. It's basically a digital school security guard, okay, to put it in layman's term. It helps protect every student, every login, every day. And I know it's a pain, but there's a reason why the state has gone to it. So some of the big core components of rapid identity, the single sign-on. Instead of students and teachers having to remember and juggle through dozens of passwords, the single sign-on is one highly secure master login. It safely opens the door to all of our approved educational apps and portals, eliminating the password clutter and reducing password-related security risk that we see a lot. The multi-factor authentication, the double lock, and I know this has been a pain, we've talked about it a lot. but you log in and then you have to log in again to get that code. That the password alone is no longer safe. It no longer guarantees our safety. So the multi-factor authentication is a lock that requires both a key and secondary verification, like a one-time code sent to a device. The automated provisioning, the automatic lock changer. When students enroll, this one's big, okay? So when students and staff leave our district, before we as a technology department had to go in and manually create those emails. Now it's done for us through Munis. So the Rapid Identity talks to Munis and Tyler, and as those new employees are put into the system, it generates an email for them. So it's less work on us, and it's safer, and it ensures that former students or staff never retain access to those district systems. Okay, the role-based access, the need-to-know key. So not everybody in the district needs access to everything. Rapid Identity automatically assigns digital access based on a person's specific role, ensuring that only the data necessary, that they only have the data necessary to do their job and nothing more. So just the bottom line is Rapid Identity is, you know, it's a state mandate, it's out of our hands, but it is helping to safeguard our schools and our districts by doing all the things that I mentioned. It helps keep our districts safe and compliant and helps us focus on learning. Do you all have any questions about it? Don't shoot the messenger. Thank you all.
Thank you. Item 5, Superintendent and Board Communication. Dr. Milton.
Board, I'll be brief, but we've been working diligently to get the school year started. Of course, it starts tomorrow. During the month, we've had certified evaluation training for all of our administrators. We had several district administrators and teachers that attended KEDC's Moonshot on Vibrant Learning training at Boyd County. We've had the administrative team met, and all of our leadership team at our schools met with UK Next Gen to build a strategic plan for a portrait of a learner during the month of August. We had District Red Book training for all staff and booster clubs August 10th. Of course, on August 18th, we had our Ed Camp professional development here, which was, staff was very complimentary of that, and I really enjoyed the format and the offerings that were given. We had district-wide training on grooming and active shooter, and had Teresa Combs here for confidentiality and special education law on August 19th. Of course, we had the district-wide board vehicle driver training on August 20th. And of course, today we had our staff opening day in preparation for students arriving tomorrow on August 26th. And I sent out a one call a little earlier this afternoon, so try to remind all of the parents and everything that we're starting school and be conscious of the buses that are out there. Of course, under communication, we've got personnel actions, which we had hires, resignations, we had some transfers, we had the FMLA, and I believe that we had some retirements. Fundraisers, there are several that are listed there for your review, and of course you've been given an attachment of the Kentucky Open Records and Open Meetings Act distribution that we're required to give each year. And that completes my communication.
Item 6, discussion and possible action on approving the following items. A, July 27th, 2026 minutes. B, July financial statement. C, claims. D, superintendent expenditures. E, superintendent July 2026 work calendar. F, grants. G, travel. H, use of facility. I, review of all monthly financial reports of all funds. J, pay bills through August 31st, 2026. K, student fees, honesty bonds for the 26-27 school year, except the 2026-27 school year fresh fruit and vegetable grant award. That was L. M, Big Smiles, MOU. N, school resource officer contracts. O, amend the technology teacher device plan. P, superintendent and principal designees. Q, specialized alternatives for families and youth of Kentucky, SAFY MOU.
I'll make a motion to approve 6A through 6Q.
Second.
I have a motion by Carla, second by Eric. Any discussion?
Yes. What is 6K?
Student fees, would that be like their parking fees and their
What's
their
honesty
club
bonds?
fees? Honesty bonds?
Do we know?
That's the list that every group has to get their fees approved for the year by the board. They can't just like charge a fee to Beta for whatever
Oh,
unless
okay.
they put it on the fee list.
Gotcha.
And then the honesty bonded employees are it's a list of employees for you all, just as a FYI on who's covered on our fraud insurance, on who could touch money in that building.
Okay. And then, on 6O, we haven't made a change on that, so there's no,
We didn't make any change, so. if
we
you want-
haven't.
We didn't make a change, so you could table that if you wanna see it further, or
Okay.
either you could vote it in as it is because there's not been any change, or if you wanted to table that for further discussion at next month's meeting, you could do that. Just
Let's-
depending on how you did your motion.
I'm gonna agree to everything with the table on 6O.
Okay. So I have a motion by Carla, a second by Eric. And this was the discussion. All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed? Motion carries. Any public comments? Karen? No? No public comments? Item 8, discussion and possible action on the following change order proposal for PR 07 quarter power panel chase, Bath County Middle School renovation project, BG 25084.
I'll make a motion. There is no need to make a motion on this, so do nothing.
I have a motion by Carla, second by Kim. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 9, change order number 260-02 for reduction of electrical panel work by moving the proposed panel location on the Bath County Middle School renovation project, BG 25-084.
I'll make a motion to approve the change order number 260-02, reduction of electrical panel work by moving the proposed panel location on the Bath County Middle School renovation project, BG 25-084.
Second.
I have a motion by Carla, a second by Eric. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 10, discussion and possible action on the change order number 030-03 for stud framing, gypsum board accessories, and paint, the Bath County Middle School renovation project, BG 25-084.
I'll make that motion to approve the change order number 030-03, stud framing, gypsum board, accessories, and paint for the Bath County Middle School renovation project, BG 25084.
Second.
I have a motion by Carla, second by Eric. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes. Yes. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 11, discussion and possible action for an additional teacher position at OES for the 2026-27 school year.
I'll make a motion to add a third grade position teacher at OES for 26-27.
I have a motion by Carla, a second by Ashley. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 12, discussion and possible action on the preschool structure and staffing.
I'll make a motion to approve 3 full-day daycares. I'm sorry, I make a motion to approve 3 full-day pre-K classes.
I have a motion by Carla, a second by Ashley. Discussion. Yes, I agree. I would rather wait on this. I'm not comfortable with the full day yet. With as many, I just, losing $150,000.
We're losing it if we don't do it.
No, we're losing it if we do it.
No, if we have daycare, daycare's what's costing us the $150,000. No, clarification, Brittany. If we have daycare, that is what's causing us to lose the $150,000. Is that correct?
Going to full day is costing the child care around, it's gonna cost it around 70-ish thousand in the whole. The additional teacher position and aide position, like if you were to add a 4th classroom, would be an additional $70,000, $80,000, depending on.
We're not adding a classroom.
So you're not gonna add that. If you move to full day, the cost of that is gonna be just what it's gonna cost the child care, which is around $70,000.
So it's gonna cost us right about $70,000 if we move to full day.
But that is if, like, we had both of those half-day rooms filled to the brim at 20, and we didn't right now. We only had 9 in the morning, 10 in the afternoon. Like, if both of those were 20 each and they were gonna go to that childcare room, it would definitely cost the childcare $70,000. It may not cost them that much because we weren't gonna have that many kids anyway, unless they continue to come in and fill up those rooms as the year goes on.
We only have
But it's gonna
17.
cost us an additional aide or 2.
Well, we have on here, the preschool structure and staffing. She is requesting one additional aide, no matter what you do to the structure, just due to a high-needs student. She's requesting, no matter if they're half-day, full-day, whatever it may be, there's a student in that room who needs its own aide. So that was gonna be, I kinda am not putting that in my head as either way, because you all were gonna add that anyway, if that makes sense. But the additional preschool teacher and aide that I'm talking about is if you added a 4th classroom. So if you don't do that, take that cost out of the equation. But going to full day will be detrimental to the school-age child care program. Like, we would definitely, if you go back to full day, we will need to look in this spring or very soon about maybe not having a child care program, because we just can't sustain.
But right now, that child care only has 17 kids in it, and that's not gonna keep it abroad. And if we don't go to full day, then we are not gonna have teachers tomorrow in classrooms that have children in preschool. And so now we've got a bigger issue.
Not tomorrow, we got a couple
Or,
weeks.
no, we got September 8th, so it's what, 10 days?
September 8th is the first day. So I think there's like a,
But it's gonna cost us $70,000.
No,
There's-
it's not gonna cost 70,000, is it, for us to have a 3 full-day pre-K childcare?
it's hard to estimate what it would cost. The childcare will be in the red, maybe no matter what, if we don't fill up those half-day classrooms. And right now, they're not filled. So it's just a matter of how many kids we're servicing and how many are going to the child care program. If you go to full day, there's gonna be no kids in there during the day. They're only gonna be
Because there's no need for it.
after school or whatever. But as we've seen in years past, the after-school is not keeping the childcare afloat because of the staffing and supplies and all that the kids need in that room. And the school-age childcare has, she can probably speak to more, but it has a lot more strict guidelines on the staffing, that they have to have so many. If you want to speak.
And they're also a 10-to-1 ratio. But now, I want to get back just to the preschool part, is if we had, this was the thinking behind this, and I don't think we're real clear on it, but I want everybody to understand.
I know.
The idea behind the half-day preschool was if you had your 3-year-olds in the morning, then the kids that went in the morning, they would go on to the daycare that afternoon, and then vice versa. You would have your afternoon students that are there, the PM will go to the daycare in the mornings, and then that would help fund. So with that being said, if she's got 17 now, then we would have an additional 9 that would go in that morning if that's what parents want for their daycare, because we don't know the exact numbers, but it was to help try to save that. And then vice versa, we would have the other 10 that would go in the afternoon. So that would help fund as well, because our funding for the daycare is on Friday, and then they gotta have Fridays, because we're only in school, preschool Monday through Thursday, so they've gotta have somewhere to go on Fridays, and then all classrooms would have somewhere to send their child on Fridays all day. So the all day for Friday is $20 a person. And then during the week, we went from $10 for the half days and moved it to $12 to try to help fund that. So either way, if we don't have the daycare, families are gonna have to think about what they're gonna do on Friday.
And
So
most
for-
daycares won't take kids just one day a week.
Exactly, and what we had proposed is that you pay whether you come, because when you hold that spot and you have a child that just comes one day a week, you're holding a spot for someone that needs it for the whole week, and they don't send them.
Well, and if we do go to the pre-K, to the all-day, they don't need daycare during,
If they
because
go
they're
all
in
day,
class, because they're
right.
all day. Then if we have daycare on Friday, and they're all there on Friday, then that's a win, because you've got all kids, and you're only paying for staff on that
Right.
Friday with those many kids.
And then we have to consider that when kids are dismissed and start getting on, start leaving the daycare or the preschool at 2:30, we still have, 10 staff that need somewhere to send their child until they leave at 3:45.
So
And
you'd
that's
have it on
something-
after school. You'd have it at 3:15 every day, and you'd have it all day Friday. The only thing we're missing is 17 kids switching Monday through Thursday, and that's $12 a kid for 17 kids. So that's roughly 10 times 17 is $170. So $200 a day
And see,
is
and
not going to cover
No.
5 staff members to work there. That's what our problem is it's only producing $200 for the people who are, the 17 kids.
I realize that it is a lose-lose. I realize that. I just was trying to see which way we would lose less.
That's
So
the
I
way
do
we
want to
lose
point
less.
out too, before you all make a decision, she jogged my mind on something. If you do the 3 full day right now, the issue could arise, as she was talking about, that you will eventually have to add that 4th classroom, the 4th teacher and 4th aide, because we would be almost at cap then in every class. And if kids come in that have disability or they qualify, you have to take them. So like in a month or 2 or whatever, we may be back here asking for another teacher and aide. And if you didn't, the reason we wouldn't have to do that if you stayed half days, because there's only 9 in the morning, 10 in the afternoon, and we have some room there that we could add the kids. We can total take 80 kids with the half-day structure. If you go to 3 full-day rooms, you're only going to be able to total take 60 kids. And
Okay.
then we'd have to add another.
Okay, I understand that. So one of the big reasons for the childcare is staff, correct? We want to take care of our staff.
Well, not necessarily, because we have the community members that use it too, but we like to make sure our staff has priority. And then it does provide for the community. We have families, you know, that don't get the Christmases and the Thanksgivings and extended breaks, and we're open during that time. We're open during snow days.
And we would still have it during then.
And we could look at it and try, you know, at even increasing that. If we need to take a Friday and move it to $25 instead of 20, and we can take, it used to be 10 for the half days, and we talked about the 12 and settled on that. We could even think about raising that to 15.
What is
But-
your recommendation, the full day to the half day?
My recommendation, I would stay with the half days. So we would have that room to add students as they flow in, because our problem's gonna be is if, you know, because I've got calls coming in with kids turning 3 in January. I can't take them now. You know, I gotta wait till they turn 3. That could fill in some of those slots. If we go full day right now, we will definitely have to have a 4th classroom with a 4th teacher and aide
We have
in,
4 openings.
before the year's out, because we cannot deny a child that has a disability. It's just mandated. It's what we do with the state. It's mandated. It's part of the regulations. We cannot deny kids due to lack of space or staffing.
Okay, let me ask you, right now, we have 4 slots open as of right now, 19, 19, and 18. So if we take 4 more, let me ask you this, like any other grade level, when you have to take a child, when we're just one over, we're just one over. What happens in pre-K?
We will have to add more staff. It's a 10-to-1 ratio.
You can only have.
So it's it's a
Okay.
staff,
So there's
teacher,
no
and an
waiver, there's
aide
no
per
aide.
classroom of 20.
Okay,
And then we have to consider our students that we have trickling around that are your special needs kids. And you really don't want to get them to the full 20, because the regulations tells us we really need to consider their disabilities when we make those decisions. It's just best practice. So we may need to keep that room if we have 2 or 3 that are high needs, and we have several that are, to keep those class sizes smaller. So might be best to keep that at like 17 instead of 20, because you're going to have those high needs.
okay. So here's what I'm thinking. If we went to full day and we had to hire a teacher and an aide, you're looking at another, what, 50, 60,000?
Yeah, that's.
Okay. If we keep the daycare open and we run it half day, we're still in the hole 50, 60,000.
We can't, we just can't guarantee.
So there's no win, no matter which way we go. It's still going to be a loss,
Yeah.
no matter what. And if that's the case, I would rather run full days and add another pre-K teacher. Either way, it's costing. And we're
It's
still
gonna
going to
be-
have after-school daycare. We're still going to have it in the morning, and we're still going to have it on Friday.
And we'll have to, like the after-school, we'll have to try to prorate. We can kind of come back to the table and think about how we were going to prorate the fee for for an hour or 2 at the end of the day. And then we may even have some people in the community that have their children there longer. So we would have to kind of come back and look at that and see, but it's going to cost either way. We were just, I think the thinking behind it was trying to save the
Daycare.
daycare. Because we know it's a need for the community, we know it's a need for our staff. But, we know how funding is. I mean, it is what it is.
And
We
no
only
other,
do the
no
best
other
we can.
school has daycare either, do they? No other county offers it at their school.
And we can consider raising. We can raise the Fridays to $25 a day, and we can raise the $12 half days to $15. But the problem we run into that is if you have a tuition child and they need that daycare, they can pay up to $600 a month between tuition and daycare. And that's a lot, that's a lot for families.
Well, and I utilize daycare for my children when I
I
was
know.
working, you know.
I mean, I know, I did it too. I paid $5,000 a year for tuition-based preschool and childcare. We managed it. I had a family come in last week for a screening, and by the time I did the math because this child didn't qualify, by the time I did the math, it was about $480-some a week between the tuition and the childcare.
And you know, if we do full day, they don't have childcare cost nearly as much because they're in school all day,
Right.
you know. So it's better for the family financially for the child to be in
It is.
school and they're learning instead of being babysat.
But then we have to consider we can't service 80 students like we were hoping. We would have to service 60
Now, is
until
Miss-
we get more numbers to come in to open another.
Okay, and let me ask you, does anybody out there know the answer to this? If we hired another preschool teacher, do we have room? We have 2 at OES. Does Crossroads have availability for another room there?
We do. We actually had a classroom at CES.
Okay.
That was cleared out, and another teacher was given that, but I don't think there was a problem to overlap.
So if we had
So
to
we have
come
a space.
January, if we fill up these 4 spots between here and January, come January with the ones you already know that are coming in, and the wait list, because at that point, we could take some more kids if we've got kids that we
Correct.
have to take in January to fill up a
And,
class.
and we still have 2 weeks. We can fill those 4 spots before the end of the next 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Because we get
and we
calls
may end up-
every day for preschool.
Having that that another pre-K teacher.
So-
And here's the thing, if we do the half-day, and we fill those 4 spots, again, we still gotta have another teacher. We still have to do it. So if we voted tonight to do the half-day and we fill those 4 spots, it's not saying a month from now, we're gonna have another pre-K
It's more-
teacher and an aide.
Car-
So now. you
Carla,
got-
I'm sorry, I don't mean to disrupt, but I am, before I forget. If we keep it half-day, we'll have nearly 20 spots to fill.
How do
if
you
we-
get that?
Because we will have 3-year-olds in the AM, and we've got 9 kids in there right now. Then they'll go to daycare after that. Then the PM, they've got another 10 in. So if we do that, we can serve 80.
Because we
Because
have
we can
that
do
extra
20 in the
teacher.
morning, it's just they're gonna have half-day and not full-day.
I gotcha.
Yeah, and that's why we chose to do the 3-year-olds in the AM, because they're younger and they probably can't really tolerate a full day like a 4-year-old can, and then to move them on to daycare and then flip-flop. But that way, we can still serve 80, because we'll still have slots in the morning and slots in the afternoon to fill. But if we go all day, we won't have very many slots. We'll only be at 4 slots.
Right, and that's what I'm looking at, is
Yeah.
that we have those 4 slots available,
Yeah.
and then if we have to fill it, then we just fill it and hire another
It's a lot
pre-K
to cycle
teacher.
through.
Yeah, I gotcha.
It is, it's a lot.
I'm still for having full day. It's financially a safeguard for the families that are utilizing that, like you just said, you ran the numbers, it's gonna cost them $400 for the child to come here.
And that's with the tuition kids. Now, the families that are in the half-days right now, those are not tuition-based. We may have 1 or 2 trickled in there, but most of those kids are funded-based.
And do those parents know that that is only gonna be a half-day and that
They revised that as they came through for the screenings, yes.
Okay, and they were okay with paying daycare?
If they needed it, they were,
Okay.
because not all of them need it, but they know it's available. We didn't have an exact number there. A lot of them are thinking, because we had so many that came in on our last screening. We've had 3 screenings, and the first screening came in April, and the first 36 children that qualify, we've got the agreement that you have to send them to Gateway Head Start first. And then once those slots are filled, then when we do the next screenings, then those are ours. So some act interested, some's not. We have some on waiting list. I think we had 9 last I checked. So if they've got 17 at the daycare now, we have 9 that's on the waiting list.
But the wait list are to get into pre-K.
Well, they're on the list for the daycare.
So we have 9
Yeah.
and we have 7, 9 and 8, which was a total of 17.
Yeah.
And that's the total. So we have 9 more on a wait list for daycare?
No, we had 9 that want the daycare. That's on the list with Seabolt to be contacted for the daycare. They had an interest in it, and then they'll meet.
But we
and
do
discuss.
have a confirmed 17
Yes.
in it
Yes.
current. So 9 and 17,
Yes.
26. I don't know. What do you think?
We have to. If the slots gets filled, we don't have any choice.
And then
If
we
those
will.
4 slots get filled, we don't have a choice. We have to hire.
Correct.
Yeah, but she says she's got a list that they could be filled.
I have a list of 15 to 20 students that are tuition-based that we can fill another classroom with. But we have to be careful about doing that
But that's
because
tuition.
we
Those
will
are not.
still have students that will come in that will have a qualified need. And we have to take those first. We can't decline them.
When you say tuition, what do they have to pay?
It's 40 a week.
Okay. Right.
And that's a lot less than thousands of dollars that we get from students with disabilities and severe disabilities.
Oh, yeah.
So,
And that's what we're saving the 4 spots, because you have to take those, and you have to be able to place them immediately. It doesn't start until September 8th. So if we did go to full day, and we filled them by September 8th, because, worst case scenario, we did do that, okay? Then we still have time to add another pre-K teacher, and we have room for another pre-K teacher. So it can be done.
and my best recommendation is if we do full-time with the half-day class, we need to start planning and preparing and getting ready for that 4th classroom, because we will go over.
Okay.
Yep. And see, we've got special needs kids, so we want to try to shuffle them around a little bit, so that way because we have to consider the needs and not maybe have a 17 for that class instead of
Right.
20.
Have lower
To help
kids in
ourselves
that
a little,
classroom.
because we have some needs, and that's why we're requesting the 8 as well. But
Yes.
with that scenario, we would have 20 kids, and we would have a special ed teacher, 2 aides, and a gen ed teacher. So they have 4 adults in there at all times.
Do you think the young 3-year-olds will make it all day?
Now, I can't say that for all of them, because all 3-year-olds are different, but generally, they're not going to tolerate a full day like a 4-year-old will. 4-year-olds, they're babies. They're babies. And historically, we have had some that didn't stay all day, and some that just dropped out at 3 because it was just too much, or parents. And I've had some that we screened and decided to change their mind. They felt like maybe their child was too young, they wanted to wait. So, it's just a kind of a case-to-case basis with them.
Last year, all of our kids were all day.
In your opinion, is this a decision that needs to be made tonight?
I'm sorry.
In your opinion, is this a decision that needs to be made tonight, whether we go full days or whether we keep it the way it
Okay.
is?
I'm good at giving opinions when you ask. I would think about it. I think we need to sit on it. Because we can find ourselves at the end of tomorrow and have all those slots full. I would personally keep the half-days, just so we would have that
too.
room. So we would have that, just so we would have that room. Because we don't want to get ourselves in a mess when we're mandated and required with regs to serve the kids with the severe needs, with needs first. And if we jump in and take the whole day or half day and turn it into a whole day, we may shoot ourselves in the foot, because what happens if we can't get a teacher and we've got kids we have to serve? This way, by doing the half days, we can buy some time But I'm not the one that, I mean, I'm giving you the information. I can't make that decision. I can just give you what you need to do to try to make the best decision.
But if we come here next month and it deems we need to go full days, but then we can make that decision then.
Right.
Okay.
But we've never had half-day.
We would have some wiggle room. We would have maybe more, we may have more kids come in that qualify. We have to wait. It's just a waiting game. And I wished I could tell you more. I can't predict. I can't predict what's going to happen, but
Well, and one thing too, I mean, this is true, we're Bath County, we've been small, we want to
Yes.
grow. If we hire that fourth grade, or that fourth pre-K teacher, which I know is financially, but next year, usually when they start in a district, they stay. You know, they're more apt to be here for kindergarten and first grade, and, you know, we grow.
Well, we have a motion on the floor, and we have a second. So, all in favor of the full-day preschool signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Those opposed say no. No. Did you say yes? Yes, yes. So motion carries. I guess we'll go to full day.
Okay, and also don't forget to make the motion to add the additional aid that she's requesting if you all choose to do that.
Okay, so we'll make the motion to add the aid for the pre-K. We had to have that anyway. We had to have
Because
that aid no matter
it's got the
what.
structure, so yes, yes,
It's due to disability needs.
okay.
We had to have that.
So I have a motion by Carla to add the aid to the pre-K. I have a second by Kim. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed? No. Motion carries. Item 13, discussion and possible action on replacing and repairing the high school gym sound system.
I'll make that motion. To approve the replacing and repairing the high school gym sound system.
I have a motion by Carla, second by Eric. Any discussion? What was the cost of,
It would be approximately 85,000.
and we have that in?
We have that in the contingency fund from
Okay.
the high school construction and that we did just finish. So we have contingency money left to be able to do that and fix the sound system.
Okay. All in favor signify by saying yes. Yes. Opposed? Motion?
Yes. That's correct.
Motion carries.
5-0.
Item 14, discussion and possible action on the first reading of amended policy 09.31, athletics and sport activities.
I'll make the motion of the first reading of amended policy 9.31, athletics and sports activities.
I have a motion by Carla, second by Ashley. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 15, I have a motion to adjourn. I have a motion by Barbara, second by Eric. Any discussion? We're adjourned.